So we're going to look at slope formula today. So very similar to yesterday, we're just adding some pieces. Before we get to some stuff about slope, we're going to add a step to what we did yesterday. All right, so our equation skill, we're still clearing fractions, but in order to get rid of them, we have to get the fraction by itself. So we're going to add a step. Before we can get to the 2/5 b, I have to get rid of minus 7. How do I undo minus 7? Add 7. And do I add it to 1/3, both sides? Both sides. All right. So then I'm going to bring everything else down. And then it looks just like what we did yesterday. All right. Since we are getting rid of fractions, do I multiply by the numerator or the denominator? The denominator. So here I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. What is negative 2 times 5? Negative 10. Have I completely solved yet? Now I've got to divide both sides by 2. And that would equal negative 5.
Wouldn't you just multiply the other side by 5 over 2?
If I do that, yes, we could do that. But then we've got to multiply fractions. So if we do it this way, we're just getting rid of the fraction. But yes, that would eliminate one of those steps. All right, number 2, I'm going to get my fractional term by itself. I'm trying to get 1/8t by itself. I've got an extra minus 3. How do I get rid of a minus 3? Add 3 to both sides. Make sure you're combining like terms correctly. Make sure the right stuff is canceling. And make sure you bring everything else down. 1/8 t is one of your 1/overs. If I'm getting rid of that fraction, what do I have to multiply by? 8. I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. I end up with negative 16 equal to 1t. Is there really a next step? Not really. T is isolated. We could divide both sides by 1, but it's kind of redundant. So t is negative 16.
I made the mistake of adding the times 8 to the t. Like, instead of like even out the fraction, I just took the 8 away and just put 8t.
Gotcha. All right, in number 3, what would I do first? Subtract 4. Solve the rest by yourself. It could. All right, so solve the rest of that and put that away. So I've got fraction, that's a fancy way of division. I undo division with multiplication. What am I going to multiply by? 9. 9 times 6 is 54. And then what is my final step? Divide both sides by 2. So number 3, y equals? All right, try number 4 by yourself. All completely. can talk to a friend, see if you got the same thing. See if you got the same sign, if you got the same number. You can catch each other in a mistake. If there was one, you didn't get the same thing. Alright, so first thing you want to do is subtract 2 from both sides. Then I've got to get rid of this fraction. Fraction is a fancy way of division. If we are trying to undo division, what do I multiply by? 7. 7 times negative 6 is negative 42. Alright, and when I divide both sides by 4, what should I get for A?
15.
Nope.
10.5.
10.5, almost. We're missing one thing. Negative 7.5.
You have to add the. I see where I messed up.
Okay, so our essential question, or what we're going to learn about today, is how do I use the slope formula to find the slope of a line given 2 points? So the really essential thing here is that in order to find slope, I have to have 2 points. I can have more than 2 points, but I cannot find slope with 1. I have to have at least 2. So in number 1, we have how many points?
2.
2, which means you can find what?
Slope.
The slope. So first thing we're going to do is plot these 2 points. So your X and Y axis are a little bit darker than the rest of your graph. If you want to fill it in, you can. Copying it isn't a perfect thing. All right, so we're going to plot our points, 9, negative 3. The 10 by 10 grid, so 9 is almost to the end. We have to have at least 2 points to make a line. And we do indeed have a line. Yesterday, how did we define slope? Rise over run. So we're going to start at our point. We're going to rise. And then we're going to run. Is this slope going to be positive or negative? Positive. How much do I rise? And how much do I run? So my slope for this one is 4 over 12. Does that reduce? Yes. What does it reduce to? 1/3. So if we go back to our graph, that means we could rise 1 and run 3. Rise 1 and run 3. And so we end up just creating extra steps on our graph. But the slope is still the same. Number 2, if we plot our points, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to let you do that by yourself. Activate that prior knowledge from yesterday. Question, or are you asking about the answer? Yeah. All right, when you graph it, it should look something like this. Is it positive, negative, undefined, or zero? Negative, how do you know? Going down from left to right, all right. So, if we're talking about the slope, I'm going to start at the point given. I'm going to rise and run. So, I rise. How much?
14. No. 6.
And how much did I run?
6. 7.
3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6. All right, does negative 15 over 6 reduce?
No.
Are we sure?
Last time I checked.
The 6 and 15 have a same common factor. 3. So 15 divided by 3.
It's 2 over 5.
Other way. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we end up with a slope of negative 5 over 2. So if we start at my bottom point, I can rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and go over 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. And when I do that, I should land on the same points. We just add some extra steps in there. So basically, we've just proven that in order to find slope, you only need to have 2 points. So it can be any 2 points on the line. It can be the very bottom one and the very top one, or it can be any points in between. And you should get the same thing as long as you're able to reduce. All right. So we've got this box here. That means it's important stuff. The slope, M, we call it M. I don't know why. It's just what somebody chose, and we stuck with it all these years. Of the line that connects any 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, so we can find the slope by doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're finding the difference in our y values over the difference of our x values. We can say the change in y over the change in x. You do have to know this formula. I will not give it to you. You have to have it. Dylan, you put a mask on, please. You put yours on, please. Thank you. I know, I don't like it either. All right. Turn and tell a friend that your slope is change in y over change in x. Say it out loud. If you don't have a friend, just say it out loud. Out loud. All right. Turn and tell a different friend that m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. All right, so since we all don't have friends, and since we're all not participating, we have to do it again. We have to do it all together, so you're going to repeat after me. All right, m equals y2 minus y1 over
Over
x2 minus x1.
x2 minus x1.
Alright, so for my friends that still aren't participating, we get to do it again. So make sure everybody. Alright, slope
Slope
is
is
m equals
y2
minus y1
minus y1
over
over
x2 minus x1.
x2 minus x1.
Or
Or
change in y
change in y
over change in x.
over change in x.
Alright, better. Good job. Alright, flip the page. Oh, look, we got the handy dandy formula written out for us. That's nice. Alright, do you have to memorize this?
Yes.
Yes. So go ahead and start getting that in your brain pretty easily. Alright, so we're going to use the formula. So this is in a circumstance where you don't have the graph. And so you're just going to use the formula to find the slope. I got it covered. Alright, so in number 1, we have how many points? 2. Is that the number that we need? Yep, we need at least 2. Alright, in the first set, it's the first set I come to, so we're going to say x1, y1. So we're going to say x1 is negative 3, y1 is 1. The second set of points, what do you think we're going to call it?
x2 y2.
x2, y2. Wonderful. And we are going to plug our numbers into the formula. So we're going to have our m equals, as we're finding slope. We'll use the parentheses. Y2 goes first. What is y2?
4.
4. What is y1?
1.
So we're going to have 4 minus 1 on top. Draw a line. What is x2? 9. So in my formula, I've got minus. So on the bottom, I have 9 minus -3. All right, think back to your rule of socks. We've got some double signs here. We've got a minus, a minus. If you have the same sign, is that a positive thing or a negative thing? Positive thing because your socks match. So how could we rewrite that? 9 plus 3. All right, what is 4 minus 1?
3.
What is 9 plus 3?
12.
What is 3 over 12? Does that reduce?
1 to 3. No. Yeah.
1/4. And my final answer, m equals 1/4. What do you think would happen? You don't have to write this, but what do you think would happen if I said x2 is negative 3 and y2 is 1 and 9 and 4 were my x1 and y1? Don't write this, just let's talk about it. You think it would be different?
No.
So the same, what? Like the same answer, but we would get there differently?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look. Let's work it out.
Wait.
Okay. All right. I'm going to work it out.
No, because they're different numbers.
All right. So my formula is still going to be the same, but my numbers are going to be this. Y2 is 1. 1 minus y1. So 1 minus 4. All right. On the bottom, I have x2, which is negative 3, minus x1, which is 9. All right. What is 1 minus 4? Negative 3. What is negative 3 minus 9? Negative 3 minus 9? Negative 12. What is negative 3 divided by negative 12?
Huh?
What does that reduce? Positive 1/4. Was it the same?
Yes.
So does order really matter?
No.
What matters is that whatever set of parentheses, whatever coordinate pair you put first on the top and the bottom. Y is on top, X is on bottom. All right, so order doesn't really matter. All right, let's look at number 2. Negative 1, 4, and negative 3, 8. Since it's the first set, we'll say negative 1, 4 is x1, y1. Second set is x2, y2. But does it really matter? No. What goes on top of my step formula, y or x? Y goes on top. So we're going to have y2, 8, minus y1, which is 4. X2 is negative 3, minus an x1. So minus a negative 1. All right, on the bottom, it's super complicated. We've got a minus and negative. How can we rewrite that? Negative 3 plus 1. What is 8 minus 4? What is negative 3 plus 1? Negative 2. What is 4 divided by negative 2? Negative 2. So what is my slope? Negative 2. All right, so for this one, if it is rise over run for m equals negative 2, what is my rise? If my slope is rise over run, if m is negative 2, what would my rise be in this one? If I had to write this as a fraction, what could I write it as a fraction as? Negative 2 over what? 1. So I would be rising 2 and running 1. Just a little extra. Yes. All right, number 3. 6, 3, and 6, 9. What do you notice? Anything? They both have a 6. Good. That's what I was really looking for. So let's say the first set of points are x1, y1. The second set are x2, y2. But does it really matter? Nope. All right. y2 is 9 minus 3. y2 minus y1. x2 is 6. x1 is 6. We don't have any double signs. There's no minus or negative. There's no plus or plus. Nothing like that. So we can just go straight into it. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. What happens? 6 over 0 is what? Nope. Alright, so I heard 6. I heard 0. I heard undefined. Which one's right?
Undefined.
Undefined. Why?
Because you can't have a denominator of 0.
Correct. So it would be straight up and down. Can't have a denominator of 0. Once upon a time when Siri was really awesome, you could ask Siri to divide by 0 and she would tell you about how you didn't have friends and Cookie Monster to eat all your cookies because you didn't have any friends to share them with. And so this really long story about you can't divide by 0. And she talked about Cookie Monster, but she doesn't really do that anymore.
Cookie Monster's sad and you're sad because you have no friends. Because people take offense to it.
Alright, so 6 divided by 0 is undefined. Alright, last one. Negative 4, negative 8, and 0, negative 8. We have 2 pairs of points, which is a good thing. We need at least 2 to find slope. So we've got x1, y1 first, x2, y2 second, but doesn't really matter. Go ahead and set up your formula. Don't solve it yet. We'll solve it together, but see if you can get it plugged in.
The only one we got left.
Looking good. Make sure your Y's are on top, your X's are on bottom. All right, let's see if we got it plugged in correctly. Make sure you got at least this far. So I have negative 8 minus a negative 8. Make sure you got those double signs. And then x2 minus x1, 0 minus a negative 4. Means I got double signs on top, double signs on bottom. So if we think about the rule of thought, minus and a minus, do they match or mismatch? Match. Is that a positive thing or a negative thing? Positive. So negative 8 plus 0. On the bottom, do my signs match or mismatch? Match. Is that a positive thing or a negative thing? Positive thing. So 0 plus 4. And then we'll simplify. What is negative 8 plus 8? 0. What is 0 plus 4? 0. All right, so if I have 0 cookies and 4 friends, do I have cookies to share? Not really. I can't divide it among us. We all just get to 0. So 0 divided by 4 is 0. So your slope is 0. So if your slope is 0, is that a vertical line or a horizontal line? Horizontal. All right. Your homework is the next page, front and back, 1 through 24. You have lots of time.